Hello everybody, I said that I was going to do a brief video on the Middle-earth CCG game, but this time not a playthrough, but actually looking at the resources that I use. As you know, this game is dead, so this game, I.C.E, who also made Middle-earth, the role-playing game, but also Lord of the Rings, the adventure game, which is also a role-playing game, but an older one from the 80s, lost the license in the year before the films came out, namely 1999. So all of this, all of the cards, and these are just the sleeved cards, these are the cards that I actually use for playing. I've got the same amount upstairs in that isn't sleeved, that is simply, you know, like the ones that I have doubles. So these are my... this is the thread deck, it's red. These are the resource cards, they're blue. This is the current game that I'm playing. This would be the coastal regions of Middle-earth, the hazard deck and my play deck against it. I play with sideboards, so each hero is in a clear sleeve because they would be on a sideboard. I don't put them in my hand. Here are all of my locations, all of the allies, all of the factions. The factions are also in here, but one version of each faction is in this deck. And here I've got the so-called named creatures that I would see in a sideboard for a particular scenario. So I've got, I'm just going to zoom in a little, maybe even more. This would be the trolls from The Hobbit: William, Wuluwag, Bert, Burat, Tom, Tuma, then a couple of the ring wraiths. This is Rahil, he's a Nazgul. It's in Dutch, so I don't really understand what it says, but that doesn't mean anything. Here we've got Murath of Dir, he's also a Nazgul. And we have Uvatha the Horseman, he's also a Nazgul. And this one shouldn't be red, so I'm just going to switch the sleeve while I'm at it. So why are they separated out? Because I would imagine, or I could even think of several scenarios that I could think up in my head where meeting a Nazgul is part of the game, is part of the storyline. So you would need to have the Nazgul ready, and you can't rely on them coming out of the hazard deck or coming out of your hand, because obviously the hazard deck, again, is the deck of an AI. They can't really think for themselves. They can't plan a deck so that they say, okay, I'm going to play a card that allows me to search through my deck, because they don't know when this would have to happen. Then I've got all of the drakes, one version of each drake in my sideboard, because I like drakes and dragons, and I do hope to create one scenario one time with drakes in it. And then, of course, every single instance of every single manifestation of each dragon that I have. I don't have all of them. I've got Akburanar at home. I've got Akburanar a hunt. I've got Bayranax at home. I've got Bayranax a hunt. I've got Dielomin at home and a hunt. Ea Karaxe a hunt. She's a hunt plenty. I've never seen any other manifestation of hers. Itangast at home. Itangast a hunt. Skada at home and a hunt. Scoba at home and a hunt, Smaug at home, Smaug a hunt, and Leokaruth at home and Leokaruth a hunt. And lastly, I've got special items. So these would be named items. Well, Athelas isn't a named item, but it's a special item. Things like the Arkenstone. You could envisage that you have some kind of story where people have to find the Arkenstone, the Book of Mazabul. You know, each of these I've got one copy in this, so that I could say, okay, let's go and find a wizard's staff, or let's find Wormsbane. You know, that's how I sorted my cards. And now the question is, what kind of resources do I use? Well, of course, I've told you that there is a really lovely site on WordPress where somebody has been creating all these lovely solo scenarios. Then, of course, you have the council of Elrond.net, which is, I believe, a Swiss website where you can find every single rule book. So this would be the lidless I, and you can print them off, and it's totally legal as far as I can tell. You have the white hand rules. I've downloaded essentially everything that's there. There's also this Ichabod, Middle-earth Against the Shadows, and Ichabod rewrites the rules. It's kind of okay, but, you know, again, yeah, there are some, yeah, it's a good resource anyway. Then I have found this book, Middle-earth, The Wizard's Companion. It's still available, you can buy it. There are also other companions which sell for $200, and I'm not going to pay that, but I found a PDF on the net of the Middle-earth, The Wizard's Casual Companion, which contains a couple of really nice scenarios. And also how to build decks for beginners. So for me, essentially. And then the long expected party PDF, which also is a sites and scenarios publication. And for this, the side cards in here are of course black and white, but there is on the web you can find colored versions of these which you can download. They're really good. I have actually downloaded some locations from there because, as I just said, I.C.E. had the license for the Middle-earth role-playing game called MERP or MERP. And as part of this, they produced, I want to say, hundreds of, or probably 100 or so publications, which you can also find on the web as PDFs. And in two of these, in the Northern Wastes and in the Hands of the Healer, they included MECCG scenarios. And one of these is the Northern Wastes one, which I think I've got here, and I can show you. So, scenarios for MECCG. The following scenarios are for the Middle-earth collectible card game, and they present you, the player, a new way of playing adventures in Middle-earth. Sprung from the standard MECCG games, these scenarios more specifically chronicle some of the conflicts, personalities, and locations of the Northern Waste presented earlier in this book. Now, of course, this book is the MERP Northern Waste guidebook. So, of course, MECCG is not a role-playing game, and it has nothing to do with role-playing, because while it's set in the lands of Tolkien, you play against someone. It's an adversarial game. Role-playing is also adversarial, but you usually play with a group against the game, which is represented by the dungeon master or games master. So what they are trying to do here is they try to bridge the game between they try to bridge the gap between the RPG and people who would enjoy RPGs and the people and try to bring them into the MECCG, which is a very clever marketing idea. And they do this, for those of you unfamiliar with the card game, we encourage you to find a deck or two, assemble your cards and play. Can't get your MERP group together tonight, but hanker for some Middle-earth adventuring? These scenarios are the perfect way for you and your friends, or just you, there's a solitaire, to experience the richness of Middle-earth without all the preparations. MECCG also allows you to interact with some of the grander events and themes explored in this module in new ways and not always accessible through MERP, so be prepared for some surprise. For those of you who know the card game already and are here specifically for these scenarios, welcome! These scenarios offer you an opportunity to game in this new region of Middle-earth and to recreate its stories. We hope that after playing this scenario, you will flip back to the main section of this book to read in more detail about those places and peoples that make the Northern Wastes, a land so rich in culture and history, and a perfect place for the exciting adventures. So So it comes with new locations, and these have also been turned into colorful illustrations by a enthusiast, and you can download them. And what I've done is I've just printed them off, and then I've stuck them behind, or actually in front of unused locations, because I've got like 5 million boobie-doos. I put them in, sleeved them, so now they can't be distinguished from other locations. These new location cards are not official CCG cards, and as such may not be included in sanctioned tournament play. That's fine. So if we were to look at our trusted map again, the area that is covered is this one up here. So it's essentially here in Forojo in the north. There is also included in this a map of the area, a bigger map of the area, which I haven't printed out yet, but which I will print out. And you have several scenarios. The sites are described here, and you've got the site cards, as I've shown you. The cold arm of Angmar. You Votelli must. So there's also a new what you call it, character. You Votelli must meet the Witch King in single combat and defeat him. Oh, good luck with that. A difficult task for any, but you must face him in his own citadel, protected by his elite guard. Brilliant. And surrounded by his own artifacts of power. Therefore you must scour the land for brave warriors willing to accompany you on this seemingly suicidal quest. Again, as you can see, it really addresses people who are into role-playing. You know, you, Votelli, have to do this, and you have to do this, and then you have to do this, and you're, you know, like overpowered already listening to what's going to happen to you, because you're probably gonna die. Setup. Votelli begins play at Lossadan Camp. Place the Khan Doom side card at the top of the play area and the Witch King deck beside it. Khan Doom in all cases remains in play for the entire game. Draw 6 cards from your resource deck for your starting resource hand. Your hand size is 6 for this scenario. And you also get told how to construct the deck. The deck consists of the Witch King of Angmar, the Pale Sword, Rog, Fell Winter, Double Vigilance, Redoubled Force, Doors of Night twice, Redoubled Force twice, Angmar Arises. A map of Middle-earth or appropriate region cards is required. Deck construction, 2 starting characters, one of which has to be Votelli, the other can be any character with a mind of 5 or less. 1 starting minor item of your choice for each character, a resource deck of 25 cards of your choosing. This may include up to 6 other characters, including 1 copy of one wizard, plus any items, factions, allies, or resource events. You may have no more than 3 of each non-unique card. A hazard deck of 30 cards is divided as follows: 20 hazard creatures, 10 key to the wilderness, double wilderness, 5 to free domains, borderlands, 5 to shadowlands or dark domains, 10 other hazard cards, events of your choice, including corruption cards, Nazgul, dragon manifestations, dragon a hunt manifestations, by the way. You may use no more than 3 non-unique hazards in your deck. Side cards based on your resource strategy. These must include Lossadan Camp and Khan Doom as the ending location. Then you walk through it. So it's a really almost, one could say it's probably a railroady one, but it is a way of getting someone who plays MERP and get them into the CCG, and it looks like a very interesting but also very challenging one. And I don't even know if I've got all of the decks that I need, but it gives you a sample deck as well, so you're good to go, you know. Yeah. And they suggest that Votelli takes Black Arrow, which seems to be a mistake actually, because somebody said that Black Arrow was for warriors only, but Votelli's not a warrior. Beretta with Dagger of Westernest. The wizard should be Radagast. Test rest of character pool: Thorin, Boromir, Glorfindel, Keely, and Celeborn. Witch King deck: Witch King of Angmar, Double Vigilance, primary sites Lossadan Camp, Khan Doom, Grey Havens, Lorien, Rivendell, Barrow Down. So you basically travel around a lot, and the end is then the Zarak Doom place. So is... And here it says, each faction in play at the time of the assault on Kharn Dûm reduces the strikes and prowess of the automatic attack to Kharn Dûm at Kharn Dûm by 2. So, as you can also see, she is amassing a warband to fight the Witch King of Angmar, and this actually has an in-game effect on the side card. So I think that they've really managed to build something. This Vortelli one, which is a solo one, would really appeal to somebody who is a role player, because they could identify with lots of these ideas behind it. So this is one of the resources that I use. I've also got the Hands of the Healers, or the Hands of the Healer scenarios as well. The internet is also the place where you can find any cards that you don't have, because what you have to do is you just go out and you say, you type in Lackey, and you download the Lackey module, which is a card playing virtual table thingy for your PC. And then you search for the Lackey module for CCG, and that has every single card ever produced. I believe including the promo cards available to you in high resolution, and then you can just print them off if you like and make your own and proxy the cards in. So, and of course there are also decks still available online from various outlets where you can buy them. So it is a game that lives, and someone even commented on one of my videos saying that they had heard that someone in Spain was now reproducing all of the Spanish decks and cards, which I don't know if it's true. I don't disbelieve it, but of course, guys, if you're going to do this, if you're going to print out the cards, you cannot sell them, because that would be illegal. I'm pretty sure you can print them off for your own use, but if you start selling them, then that's illegal, because yeah, you would be infringing on somebody's IP. And of course, if you want to build your own stories, if you have any stuff from MERP, any MERP related publications, they've got lovely maps, they've got lovely storylines. You could take those and then look through your cards and see, can you replicate them? Do you have the relevant sites? Do you have the relevant regions? Do you have maybe even, you know, like there could be a storyline in there where you say, okay, yeah, I want to reproduce this quest. Because don't forget one thing, at the heart of every single story Tolkien ever wrote is the eternal trope of the quest, which is a person or persons go to a place or many places to either find something, find someone, lose something, destroy something, whatever. It's inherent in human culture. I mean, I don't know a single culture that doesn't have the idea of the quest. Going back thousands of years, the quest is always there. And you can build quests, meaningful quests, out of the cards that are available. It can be anything from finding an item, escorting someone, ensuring that somebody else finds an item, there and back again, destroying the ring. You know, these are all things, these are just tropes. And just destroying a powerful item isn't new either. I mean, it's not like, and Tolkien would have said himself, well, I'm not reinventing the wheel, this has all been written before. I'm not a paragon, I'm an epigon, but he was a very good one. So you can take all of these cards, you know, very simple. You can start with a couple of, and maybe I'll do a video on how to create a scenario. You can start with a couple of, with a map, starting with a map. This is how Tolkien started. He was a lover of maps. He started by drawing an expanse of his world and then putting the things and the people in it. He started even with language. You know, the name came first, and then why is there a name that looks like this? How did it evolve? What was the linguistic development? Who would have been using this name? Why would they have been using this name? You know, it is, I think, this even this card, this deck of cards, or these decks of cards, I believe could be used for storytelling games. They could be used as bases for RPGs. I'm pretty sure that if Geek Gamers put her mind to it, she could take 15 of these cards and come up with a perfect scenario for a solo RPG, because, you know, she's just awesome that way. But you could use these cards for virtually anything, including, of course, playing CCG. So, like I said, let me know if you would like me to try again to defeat the coastal regions. I'll definitely try on my own time, because I do want to not just walk away from a scenario, because I'm pretty sure it is winnable if I have the right deck and if I'm a little bit lucky. I can also move on to a different one, and if you want to, you can also make a suggestion of what the next one should be. You can go to the Solo Scenarios CCG website and maybe suggest one, or if you happen to know which ones are in the Northern West, and if you have a preference, then you can also let me know, or we can also look at the Middle-earth Wizard Companion, because they also have scenarios in here, or the Long Expected Party. I don't mind. And I wish you all a pleasant rest of the day. Bye-bye.